My great-great-grandfather was Patrick Dillon. If you can't see this headline, he started life here in Pittsburgh as a grave digger before Mrs. Phipps discovered him and recommended that he work for her husband. So he took a job doing manual labor in the steel mill. And he was a humble guy. He taught himself math and English, and he worked his way up to becoming the superintendent of multiple steel mills under Andrew Carnegie, leading them actually through the Homestead strike. So he was gifted this book from them, which we don't have. He was also gifted $500,000 as part of his retirement, which we don't have. His story is unique, but there are many like it. Hundreds of thousands of immigrants came here to work in the steel mills when Pittsburgh was the 12th largest city in the country. And they all have a very unique story, and I recommend Out of This Furnace if you're interested in seeing a slice of that life, which was frankly brutal. But as we all know, with the deindustrialization and the offshoring of the steel industry, Pittsburgh lost a significant amount of our population. And this has been a big economic toll on the region that we've been trying to grow out of for multiple decades now. And there's a lot of hope, thanks largely to the eds, meds, and tech industries and other industries like oil and gas and others. We are kind of rising from the ashes, but not all places rise equally. And there's still a lot of room to go in terms of getting back to where we were on kind of the national stage. So taking a quick sidestep from that, my brother and I, who's in the back, and another friend of ours, in 2017 decided we should put our money where our mouth is, and maybe we were endowed with some of that civic pride from old Grandpa Dillon, and we decided to start investing in towns that needed some help. So the first opportunity we came across was in Coraopolis, just up the Ohio River. So at the time, most of downtown Corey was owned by one person. It went kind of into disrepair and was depressed for many, many years. We had the chance to take ownership of a few parcels there and turn them around into workforce housing for that community. We turned our attention north to Zelienople, right in our backyard. Eric and Clayton lived there. And Main Street there has a lot of historic properties that had fallen into disrepair. We were lucky enough to have the opportunity to acquire some of them and improve them and return them to some of their glory. And these have created spaces for local business owners and community members to patronize these new businesses and work in these offices. And it's been a boon for the area. So we have about 30,000 square feet of commercial space on Main Street in Zele that we've worked to improve over the last 3 or 4 years. And next up is a big warehouse transformation there. It's an old Barks root beer bottling factory. And you can see what it looks like now versus what we hope it will look like in about 8 to 10 months. Eric will check you on that timeline. So we're working hard to make these spaces for the community, to find the highest and best use for these spaces, and we're listening to people. So there was a diner in the front of that building. We hope to bring back something similar because Zelienople needs hot breakfast, and we're trying to make that happen. So let's dive into a very specific opportunity that was very difficult for us to acquire and then also to do. And it took the work of the entire community to get it done. So in New Brighton and Rochester, we had the opportunity to acquire 62 apartments spread across 2 locations that were condemned and actually very much a hotbed for criminal activity. New Brighton and Rochester, like the city of Pittsburgh, were steel towns, and they also had a big loss of population, about 35 to 40%, but they haven't rebounded quite like the city. So they're further out along the Ohio River, and they need investment. And so we thought this was a good opportunity to get involved. So this is an example. So this was a condemned building that we acquired. We immediately got to work after a year and a half of trying to get it. The absentee landlord was difficult to work with and owed a lot of people a lot of money, so we had to figure that out. But we did, and we got to work immediately clearing out. There was heaps and heaps of trash, and basically the entire interior of these spaces needed to be redone. So we worked with our builder, we worked with local government to get this project done. They helped us out by repaving roads around this complex. And the results, frankly, were pretty incredible. The inspector, when she came to look at this, when it was done after about 8 months, 9 months, maybe 12 months, she was speechless. And we were very proud to be able to put, new, safe, updated units back into the ecosystem for the community. But that wasn't, the end of it. We had to rebrand this thing because it had such a bad stigma. And we have an incredible property manager, Ben, who's in the back, who did a great job kind of getting the word out, making sure that people knew that there was new ownership here, it was no longer a crack den, and it was a safe place to have family members or friends live. And so it's been up and running for just about a year for New Brighton, about 8 months for Rochester, and the community adoption has been great. We're signing, re-signing people for another year there. They're very happy. They've made homes here. But what was really cool is that, after about 4 months of New Brighton being renovated and back on the market, the police chief gave us a call, and he said that they've seen a 20% decrease in crime complaints in the entire region of New Brighton because of this turnaround. So we're really proud of that, and it wouldn't have been possible without kind of the partnership of certainly the community members and the local government and our building partners. So there are many stories like this along the rivers of Pittsburgh where these towns have had an economic downturn. This is one example, and one example we hope to replicate. Thank you.